Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm just getting over a cold, so I'm really not feeling all that great, or sounding all that great for that matter, or looking all that great for that matter. But I didn't do a video last week, and I thought I just got to do something this week. Before I start, I just want to say rest in peace, David Lynch. I did crack this open on the day that it was announced that he passed away, and I enjoyed Blue Velvet on 4K for the first time in my life. Probably my favorite movie of all time, and a pretty sad day a lot for movie fans and for people who liked Twin Peaks and that, and just a really brilliant, creative fellow. And so I'm gonna do a separate video about David Lynch though, because I feel like I have a lot more to say about him and his creative output. So that will be coming soon, as soon as I have the energy and feel better. But I just really wanted to do a video for you this week because last week I didn't, and I can't remember if I did one the week before. I've been really sick. Whatever this cold is that's going around, it's like super nasty, and it's just taking the wind out of my sails for 2 weeks, and just really not feeling like doing much at all, unfortunately. On the flip side of that, I did pick up a few things, thrifting, and I watched a lot of movies because I was just home and laying around and not feeling all that great. So this week, what I decided to do is, so some of the stuff is from a thrifting, like a mini haul, and then I'm going to do a review of 4 movies, and then I'm going to talk about a few other movies that I watched that I just really didn't feel like doing full-on reviews. So um, some of them were, I don't know, they were like okay watches, but I just didn't feel like typing out all kinds of notes and everything. So anyway, so I'll do the ones that I picked up first, and then I'll go into the reviews. So the first thing I picked up was C-Lab 2021 Season 1. For any of you out there who have seen this show, it's an Adult Swim cartoon. It's like it looks very 70s cartoon like. An old friend of mine named Ryan got me onto this, and I don't see this around very much, so I decided to pick it up just for a larf. I got it for $2, so I'm not complaining. I did watch about 3 or 4 episodes on the first disc, and I'm not sure if it kind of lives up to my early 2000s tastes of what I thought was funny. But anyway, I decided to grab it for $2. Why not? It's in pretty good shape, and like it's just kind of a comfort thing. Just throw it on. The next one I got up is VHS, and that is Rush, A Show of Hands. This, I believe this is a concert, if I'm not mistaken, from 1989. I got this from my good friends at East Coast Toys and Games, who were at a vintage flea market near me a couple weeks ago, so I grabbed that from them. So thank you guys for that. It's pretty awesome. The other thing I got was this 3-movie collection, and I actually just got it for 1 movie, but it's Zathura, Jumanji, and RV. 2 of them Robin Williams movies. I got it for Zathura because I really like that movie. I was kind of holding out for a Blu-ray of Zathura, but I found this in a thrift shop for $4, and I thought 3 movies for $4. I think I saw Jumanji once, not really my thing. RV, I've definitely seen a few times. I used to watch that with my son when he was younger, and it's an okay comedy. It's one of these ones where the movies are stacked one on top of each other, which is really annoying, but I really do want Zathura in my collection. I do really enjoy that. Zathura being, I don't know if it's like the same person that wrote Jumanji, or it's or it's considered part of that universe or something, but I always really liked that movie. I thought it was really fun. If you like kind of like family-oriented science fiction, the special effects are really good in it. The creatures are really good. So maybe I'll do a review of Zathura somewhere down the line, but decided to grab that for the hell of it. And yeah, I did watch Zathura the other night, and it was great. The next things I got up are all vinyl. So the first thing I got this for $10. I thought it was a really good score. God, it's hard to get these in screen, but this is Wendy Carlos, A Clockwork Orange soundtrack. I saw this actually at Value Village a couple months ago, and they wanted $35.99 for it. And I'm so glad I passed on it because I found this for $10, and happy to add it to the collection. Wendy Carlos, of course, a transgender musician and electronics pioneer, and I believe she's still alive. And this, I've only listened to side one so far, but I thought it was really good. I've really been into like 70s, like Cosmish and krautrock and ambient music, and so this just fit the bill perfectly. So really happy to add that to the collection. The next one I got up, this was a bit of a disappointment actually, because I thought it was going to be surf music, but it's actually more like rock and roll. Sorry, it's really hard to juggle all these things. This is Dragon and Surfin', Dick Dale and his Deltones. I thought this was going to be more like surf rock, but it's actually more like rock and roll. Again, I've only listened to the first side. There was a really wicked surf tune on the first side, so I'm hoping maybe on the second side there's going to be some more surfing tunes. But Dick Dale, of course, one of my guitar heroes, and was glad to add that to the collection. The next one up I got, just for pure nostalgia, I got AC/DC Back in Black. I only paid $14 for it, which I did ask the record store owner why it was so cheap, and turns out the vinyl is a bit warped, but it played perfectly, so I'm going to hold on to it. He did tell me I could bring it back if it didn't play, but classic 80s rock. There's the receipt. The store is called Fanfare. No, Rainbow's End, actually. Classic rock album from 1980. So glad to add that to the collection. I already have the CD, but I had this sort of weird wave of nostalgia where I was like, ooh, the vinyl would be really sick to put on. The next thing I got up is Lord of the Rings. No. Lords of the New Church. Is this, I guess this is just self-titled. I think this might be their first album. It's from 1982. I really don't know the songs on it. Yeah, I really don't know any of the songs on it. It is from 1982, from IRS Records. This is Stiv Bators, who used to be the lead vocalist for Dead Boys, another great 70s punk rock band. And he was sadly hit by a car in the mid-80s and passed away. This was his band after the Dead Boys, Lords of the New Church. They had a second album, and I don't know if the album was called Dance With Me or just the song, but they did have a minor hit with a song called Dance With Me, which is really awesome 80s kind of goth rock tune. And the last vinyl I picked up was Sweet Desolation Boulevard. I have the CD of this, but I found this for $1.99 at Value Village, and I was like, frig, why not? It's in mint condition. This is a repress from 1981, but this is, some of you may know Ballroom Blitz or Sweet FA or Fox on the Run. Those were the big hits off this. Yeah, and I know they were still touring like 10 years ago, but I think it was just the bass player. I don't know if any of the original guys are still in the band, but just a classic sort of 70s proto. Well, I don't even want to really call it glam. They're not super glam, but kind of in that mix, T-Rex kind of vibe. 70s big guitar rock. So yeah, so that's that. On to the review portion of the video. I hope you're all pretty excited. Sort of wobble the camera. I'll put these over here for now. I'll put Blue Velvet over here. So just quickly, Blue Velvet, I did watch on 4K. It looked very good. I can't say I noticed a huge improvement over the DVD, but again, I'm getting old and my eyesight is not as great as it used to be. So, but it did look good. It sounded great, and like I said, probably my favorite movie of all time. So good on the rewatch. So the movie reviews I'm going to talk about, actually, maybe I'll do the ones that I'm not really going to do a review on and just get those out of the way. So I did have a nostalgic kind of night where I watched a couple of 80s Incredible Hulk movies. Actually, no, I didn't. Did I watch this one? God, I can't remember now. No, I did not watch this one. This has yet to be watched. This has two movies in it. That's what I'm thinking. So it has The Incredible Hulk Returns and The Trial of the Incredible Hulk. So I did sit down and watch both of these one night. I was, of course, during my sickness, and I thought, what would be fun to watch? Just some nostalgia. So here's The Incredible Hulk Returns. This has a dude who guest stars as Thor. And then The Trial of the Incredible Hulk features a dude who guest stars as Daredevil. And there's also Kingpin. John Rhys Davies, who you may remember from Lord of the Rings and Indiana Jones, is in here, a lot younger. There's Bill Bixby looking pretty intense. There's Lou Ferrigno. This is just pure nostalgia for me. I grew up watching The Incredible Hulk on TV. And there's the discs. Yeah, just pure nostalgia. And it was just comfort viewing while I was sick. So these were both pretty cool, actually. I enjoyed both of them for their wonderful 80s campiness. And I do have, I think there were 4 seasons of the show, if I'm not mistaken. I think I have 3 of them. So I'm sort of waiting for that final season to add to my collection, and then I'm going to binge watch the whole series. I have the same situation going on with Starsky and Hutch. I have again, I think I have 2 or 3 of 4 seasons. But I just don't want to watch them. I don't want to watch it, get into it, and then have to wait to get the other seasons. So. And then the other one I'm not going to really talk about. I watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory on this 4-movie Tim Burton set. Again, it's a comfort movie for me. I know a lot of people prefer the 70s one, but I just put it on for comfort, and it was great. So the movies I'm going to officially review, the first one up is Marathon Man. So this is an action thriller from 1976. The synopsis is, after the murder of his older brother, a New York history student is hounded by shadowy government agents on the trail of a Nazi war criminal who is trying to retrieve smuggled diamonds. This is directed by John Schlesinger, who also directed Midnight Cowboy, The Believers, and a really good thriller, Pacific Heights, with Michael Keaton. This film stars Dustin Hoffman, Laurence Olivier, and Roy Scheider. The budget for Marathon Man was $6.5 million, and the box office was a whopping $28.2 million, and that's in 1976 money, so that was pretty good money for this. It was the first movie to feature the Steadicam technology, allegedly, for a theatrical release, predating both Bound for Glory and Rocky by 2 months. This new camera stabilization technology was used extensively in Marathon Man's running and chase scenes in the streets of New York City. So this was the first one to use that and actually have a theatrical release, according to Wikipedia. The film was shot from October 1975 to February of 1976. There were apparently some extended scenes that were shot for this movie that were extremely violent, even more violent than what's in the movie. And also quite gory, and those were cut out from the film due to test screening audiences' negative reaction to the violence and gore. So I don't know if this version is the version that has, if this version has that stuff put back in, but or if there is even a version of that, but yeah, that was cut. Would love to have seen that, because I thought, well, I'll get to my thoughts on that in a minute. The Marathon Man currently holds an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. There is a scene in here with some dental torture, if you're somebody who's into that kind of stuff. That scene was included in Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments, which I think came out in 2004. It placed 66 on that list. And it's been described as one of the most frightening scenes on film. So yeah, if you're having aversion to dental torture, don't watch that. It is pretty scary. My thoughts on this film: great little creepy thriller. This was a first time watch for me. I found it a little hard to follow at times, which was a little off-putting for me. Maybe that's just me, I don't know, but I did find it a little muddled at times. I thought Dustin Hoffman's acting was impeccable in the film, as usual. He was such a great actor back then. I don't know if he's still doing much these days, but any of his old films, and I grew up in an era with with the one with Tom Cruise there. I'm blanking on the name right now, but he just plays a lot of characters and he plays them really well. He's just such a great actor. He's an actor's actor, probably. Tarantino would say that or something, um, but yeah, I think that's what the director was wanting in that character, was somebody who was believable, and you could follow along with him through the movie, and he was just really convincing in that role, and somebody that the audience would root for. No pun intended. The dental scene is, of course, as I said, very terrifying. I'm not a big fan of going to the dentist, although I will say dentists now compared to dentists in the 70s are a lot nicer and kind and take care of you better. But I grew up in an era when dentists were pretty rough with kids, and um, it was just kind of an awful experience. And I think probably a lot of people my age, like in their mid 50s to 60s, would agree that like going to the dentist in the 70s and 80s was no picnic unless you had a really good dentist. But all mine were quite gnarly, and it made it a very off-putting kind of thing to have to go through. Um, there's a classic line in here, is it safe? And the reason I know that line, and my friend Corey told me, there's a line in here where the character says, is it safe? That was sampled in a song by Skinny Puppy, who are, if you don't know, a fairly well-known 80s, 90s, 2000s. In fact, they just retired a couple of years ago, but industrial band from Canada, from Vancouver. And in one of their early songs, they do sample that, is it safe? And my friend Corey had told me that. So when I watched this, I was listening for it. And yeah, they say it like 20 times in the movie, but there's one specific one that Skinny Puppy sampled in one of their songs. And so it was really cool to hear that. It was kind of like, for me, years ago, watching Legend of Hell House and finding a whole bunch of Skinny Puppy samples in that movie. So it was kind of cool if you're a nerd like me and you like to hear where those samples originated. Oh God, I'm sorry guys, I'm doing my best. Ride bikes, have fun, feel good. This is a mug from my friend Tracy. Shout out to Tracy. So yeah, I would highly recommend Marathon Man if you're looking for, like, if you're a fan of 70s cinema, if you're a fan of like thrillers, if you're a fan of like war thrillers, chasing Nazis down, who got away and stuff like that. Really, really good. Lots of shots of New York, which in the 70s, which I always love seeing that. I find that era very fascinating. So yeah, I would recommend that movie if you like those things. The next movie I watched is one of my favorites, actually, and it's a movie called Coma, starring Genevieve Bujold and Michael Douglas. Sorry for my pronunciation. Genevieve, a great Canadian actor. This is a sci-fi thriller from 1978, or a medical thriller as well. The synopsis: a young and ambitious female doctor's best friend falls into an unexplained coma after a routine medical procedure. Noticing an unusual high number of similar comas occurring at her hospital, she's determined to uncover the cause. This was directed by Michael Crichton, who also directed one of my other favorites, Westworld, as well as a movie called Looker, which I've never seen but heard good things about. He was also, of course, a prolific writer, having written The Andromeda Strain, Congo, Jurassic Park. The story, Coma, was written by the author Robin Cook, who was also a prolific writer. This film stars Genevieve Bujold, Michael Douglas, Elizabeth Ashley, Rip Torn, and Richard Widmark. Tom Selleck and Ed Harris also have brief parts in this movie as well. I saw this movie for the first time probably about, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, maybe. I think I'd seen this in my youth, though, as well, because it was very familiar to me upon rewatch. And yeah, I love this movie so much. Um, there's a mysterious building in it that's sort of done in like a brutalist style architecture that was served as an institute in the film called the Jefferson Institute. That was actually the Xerox headquarters, regional headquarters back in the day. Um, Very creepy looking building. If you like brutalist architecture, 70s, 80s architecture, really like very like all concrete and very cold looking. And that it's weird because about 2 weeks ago, I got on a kick with architecture and I was watching a lot of architecture videos. And when that popped up in the movie, I was like, oh, cool, I forgot about this, which I often do because I don't have a great memory for things. But um, yeah, it's a very cold looking building and very creepy and served its purpose very well in this movie. This film cost $4.1 million, but this was offset by a pre-sale to TV worth about $3 million. I don't know what the box office was for this, but I think it probably did fairly well. Um, Despite Michael Crichton's intentions against scaring audiences from going to the hospital, many physicians and hospital administrators claimed this occurred after the release of the movie. Um, Variety magazine mentioned the film as a possible cause of the drop in organ donor numbers. It's also claimed that a hospital in Tampa had to remove the number 8 from operating room number 8 because of patient complaints. So this movie takes place in a hospital for the most part, and if you've seen the movie, you know why operating room number 8 is significant in the context of this film. But yeah, there's a lot of bad things happen in operating room number 8 in the hospital in this movie. And so apparently this hospital in Tampa, a bunch of patients complained and it got changed or something. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Coma currently holds an 81% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb. My thoughts on this film, this has been, again, a favorite of mine for quite a while. I've seen it many times. It really does give me the creeps. Genevieve Bujold's acting is really, really good in this movie. Again, Michael Douglas is good too, but I thought Genevieve was really, really convincing and really like when there's a thriller and the main actor is telling people there's something weird going on and nobody's listening to them, you get really invested in their character. And I thought she did a really good job of doing that. The story's pretty decent. The pacing and the direction, pretty enjoyable to watch. Like I said, the institute in the movie, the building itself was really scary. This is the movie where on the cover you can see there's bodies hanging from these suspension ropes or cords, and that's inside the institute where I don't want to give too much away if you've never seen it, but let's just say people that go into comas end up in this institute, and it's really, really creepy the way they have them suspended, and it really adds to the unsettling nature of this movie. Genevieve Bujold gets herself into some scary predicaments, and I honestly, every time I watch this movie, I'm like on the edge of my seat. You're doing that like, oh my God, get out of there right now, like that kind of thing. It's really, really well done that way. Apparently, the studio was considering having a male actor in the lead, but Crichton said that it would be too kind of conventional and predictable, so he stuck with his guns and put Genevieve Bujold in there. And I really hope I'm pronouncing her name right. But I think that was a good idea, and it was a good, probably in that era worth talking about also. Ripley in Alien, and lots of really strong female leads. And I think like Genevieve Bujold does such a good job in that role that I just couldn't imagine it being a male actor in that role. And I think I didn't really read a lot about the subtext of like sexism in the medical field, but that definitely is going on. And again, these male doctors and like hospital administrators not listening to her, and her trying to say like there's something bad going on here, but nobody listens to her. And so there's also that kind of thing going on where you're like, oh, because she's a woman, nobody's listening to her. And that is really unsettling as well, and I think it adds to the tension of this film. So if you like hospital thrillers, if you like thrillers, if you like 70s movies, 70s thrillers, creepy kind of science fiction medical thrillers, this is right up your alley. I can't really think of any other movies like that, but yeah, really, really spooky. The next movie I watched was a first watch for me as well, and that was 1960's The Time Machine. This is in a 4-movie set of sci-fi from the Turner Classics TCM line, and I watched Time Machine for the first time from 1960. Great movie, great movie. Time Machine is a sci-fi thriller from 1960s, I mentioned. The synopsis: a man's vision for a utopian society is disillusioned when traveling forward into time reveals a dark and dangerous society. This was directed by George Pal, who was a producer on the 1953 version of War of the Worlds. He also directed Atlantis, the Lost Continents, and The Wonderful World of the Brothers Grimm. 2 movies I have not seen either. I do own Brothers Grimm, the original, but I have not watched it yet, so I do want to check that out. But yeah, that's who directed this movie. This movie stars Rod Taylor, Alan Young, and Yvette Mimieux, who was also in one of my other favorite 70s sci-fi movies, The Black Hole from Disney. Excuse me. The Time Machine is based on the story by H.G. Wells, of course. It received the Academy Award for Best Special Effects for its time-lapse photographic effects, which show the world rapidly changing as the time traveler goes into the future. The film was apparently created on a very tight budget and given a filming schedule of just 29 days, so pretty intense filming schedule. The Time Machine prop itself was designed by MGM art director Bill Ferrari and built by a gentleman named Hua Chang, who's also on the special features here on this movie. I guess you can only see the kind of control panel in front of him there, and behind him is this wheel that spins around in a circle. Some of you may have seen that even if you haven't seen the movie. It's a fairly famous prop and a fairly famous science fiction movie prop. The scenes were filmed from May 25th to June 30th of 1959 in Culver City, California. And the backgrounds were often filled with matte paintings and models. The film has a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb. On this DVD, the Time Machine DVD, there is a special feature called Time Machine: The Journey Back. See if I can find the disc itself. Oh, there's some kind of cool artwork on the disc, which I can show you. Hey, look, I'm double. Hello from the future. Sorry, I'm shaking my blood sugars. I feel like my blood sugars are dropping, which is not fun. But yeah, there's a special on here called Time Machine: A Journey Back, which is a documentary and also has this weird little 15-minute like sequel to the Time Machine. Which is kind of bizarre. Michael J. Fox makes an appearance here talking about time travel, and he talks about the DeLorean from Back to the Future. In the short's final section, written by screenwriter David Duncan, Rod Taylor, Alan Young, and Whit Bissell reprise their roles from the original 1960 film, and there's like this weird little short, like sequel thing. It's really interesting. I was not expecting that when I watched it, but it's quite cool. If you have the time, go check that out. My thoughts on this film: it was a cool little 60s campy sci-fi romp. The special effects were pretty good for the time. The Morlocks, which are these creatures that they find in the future, they were kind of cool, very campy. If you like 60s sci-fi, you'll probably dig this. There's the beginning is, of course, them set in the 1800s. The period piece of that, like the intro, is really well done if you like that kind of stuff. I'm a sucker for like Hammer horror stuff, so it had that kind of vibe at the beginning, and then going into the future with the Morlocks, these kind of hairy beasts that kind of reminiscent of like a Star Trek from the original series, Monster. Pretty cool. I liked it. Simple story, moves along quickly, doesn't overstay its welcome, not bogged down by endless exposition of time travel, and yeah, just a fun 60s romp, sci-fi romp. So Recommended if you can find it. I'm not sure if that's on streaming. This set's really cool. I'm really glad I picked this up because I had actually not seen Forbidden Planet before up until a couple of years ago, so I did watch it in this set. 2001 I really enjoy, and Soylent Green I started to watch and then turned off, but maybe I'll have to give it another try. But when I put it on, just wasn't doing it for me. Sorry this video's so long, guys. I'm doing my best. The last movie I watched was Daredevil, which this was in a thrifting haul from a couple weeks ago. Excuse me. I picked this up a couple weeks ago in a thrifting haul. This is an action thriller superhero movie from the year 2003. So this is over 20 years old now, and has this pretty nice slipcover. There's some slipcover ASMR for you guys. I don't know if there's any raised print. No. But yeah, I picked this up a couple weeks ago. I had what was I forget. I guess I was just thinking about the Daredevil character. I was watching some old Spider-Man cartoons, and it got me kind of feeling nostalgic for this movie I had not seen in a very long time, so I picked it up. The synopsis for Daredevil is a man blinded by toxic waste, which also enhances his remaining senses, fights crime and as an acrobatic martial arts superhero. So he loses his sight, and then he becomes a superhero, which is I like that. It's cool. This was directed by Mark Steven Johnson, who also directed Simon Birch and Ghost Rider. He was also an executive producer on Elektra and Ghost Rider 2: Spirit of Vengeance. Daredevil stars Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner, Michael Clark Duncan, rest in peace, and Colin Farrell. The film's budget was $78 million, and the box office was $179.2 million. Stan Lee, Frank Miller, and Kevin Smith make cameos in this film, each for their notable work on the Daredevil comics. And Kevin Smith's character in the film is Jack Kirby. So a little wink and a nod to comic book fans. Due to the film's excessive violence, the Film Censorship Board of Malaysia banned Daredevil in that country. 20th Century Fox tried to appeal to Malaysia, but was unsuccessful. The deputy minister of Malaysia told the press that the film was banned because of excessive violence and sexual material or elements which can cause chaos in the community. That was a quote, actually. I don't think, oh God, if I think about other movies, like this is so mild compared to that, but Ben Affleck actually apparently really disliked this movie and disowned the movie, and said that it inspired him to take on the role of Batman in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, because he wanted to, clear his name of a bad superhero movie. So he did that. He called it, quote unquote, kind of silly. So I don't know if I go to that length, but there was also a scene with Coolio in here, which was cut due to I guess maybe length or something, but it was reinstated in this director's cut. So Coolio comes back, baby. Also, rest in peace. Apparently there was going to be a sequel to this movie, but it didn't happen. Apparently Ben Affleck made a cameo in the movie Elektra, but that was also cut in the end from that film. So my thoughts on Daredevil 2003, I thought it wasn't bad. It was a little dull at times, I thought, but it wasn't terrible. I don't think Ben Affleck's acting was great in this. I thought he was very wooden. I wish that he had been a bit more brooding in it. And you could see where there were some scenes where he was trying to be kind of like dark and ominous, like maybe like a Christopher Nolan's Batman kind of type thing. But I just thought if it was a little darker maybe, and maybe didn't have maybe put some more violence in it, I thought I would have enjoyed it more. But it's your average like early 2000s superhero fare. This was around the time that Spider-Man was really popular, the first Spider-Man series. And so I think some of these movies just hadn't found their dark edge yet, and so they still weren't sure what to do with these kinds of characters, whether to make them really dark or keep a bit of the playfulness in it. And so that unfortunately suffers from a bit of that. Um, Michael Duncan Clark's Kingpin was very unsettling. I thought he was really good in this. I thought some of the soundtrack was kind of cheesy, like there was a bit of like early 2000s like new metal kind of sounding music. I think was it Drowning Pool that did the Daredevil song. It's not bad, but it definitely like dates this movie pretty bad. I think like a symphonic score might have helped it a bit, but overall, I thought Daredevil 2003 was passable as a superhero movie. Has some good action scenes in it. Um, but yeah, I think it could have been a bit darker. I did watch some of the Netflix series, and I thought that maybe worked a bit better, but I haven't finished that. And I do see that I think there's a new series coming out for Daredevil, but I think maybe it's on Disney if I'm not mistaken. I'm not a superhero aficionado, so don't come yelling at me in the comments. But yeah, I thought it was all right. Anyway, guys, that's it for this week. Sorry if I couldn't keep my level of energy up. I'm just, again, recovering from sickness. I also did give up Instagram due to Mark Zuckerberg's support of Trump, and I just can't go there with you guys. So I do apologize for that, but I did shut down my Instagram account. I shut down all of my Instagram accounts, actually, and I'm about to shut down my Facebook. I did go over to Blue Sky for my personal stuff. But you can leave comments below, and if you want to get in touch with me through here, you could leave me your email address, or I don't know, something like that. I think I do have an email address, which is nightowlvhs@gmail.com. So if you want to send me a message there, I'll try to check the messages over there. But just continue to leave comments. Consider giving me a thumbs up if you like this kind of content. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And yeah, I'll keep up the videos here. And, I just, again, I'm not being all like edgy and like woke or whatever these kids say nowadays. But I was just honestly getting tired of Instagram. I didn't post a lot over there. And now with this new kind of like super rich like tech guys joining Trump, it just left me with a bad feeling, and so I said goodbye. I said goodbye to a lot of stuff actually by losing those accounts, not just this. So that was kind of sucky, but just not feeling it anymore. So yeah, that's it for now. Thank you for watching. If you've managed to last all 37 minutes, God love you. Thank you for watching to the very end. I appreciate your support and for your viewership. That's it for today. Like I said, I will be back. Probably I'll do my David Lynch tribute next week. I really wanted to do it right after he passed away because there were so many people posting about it, and I felt really bad, but I was just too sick to do anything about it. So next week I will hopefully get around to doing that. If not, probably just a what I watched video again. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I will see you at the video store or at the thrift store or just out and about somewhere. Until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching.